Hi, I'm Geoffrey Zakarian, and I'm this week's Man of the Hour.
There's no intro to this thing. People already heard it. It was pre-recorded. Geoffrey Zakarian, welcome. Good to see you, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You know, you launched a podcast just a month and a half, if not 2 months ago, right? With iHeart. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. 4 courses with Geoffrey Zakarian.
And it's been good?
You don't know what happens when you're going to launch a podcast. You have this idea, then it sort of turns into something you didn't know it was going to turn into. But it turned into a really exciting to hear people's stories and, from a different perspective, from a perspective of chronological.
Yeah.
And when you start and you finish, you've got the same person.
Isn't that nice? We're going to do the same thing with you today.
It's amazing. It really is. You really see people who they become, and they become who they were in childhood. And most of them, these are high performing people. They really were set really early on.
What do you mean set?
Their personality, their love of what they do, their passion.
Yeah.
They at 7 or 8 years old, they were there already. They didn't know it. You don't know these things.
Yeah. Well, I heard your trailer first before I dove into an episode. And I just remember thinking to myself, how many people you could have thought of before asking and inviting them to come onto a show like that. If you think about how many people you've met from different industries, and you said that was the goal of it too, right?
Yeah. It's just, you want to look, there's a lot of people I invited on I don't know, which is important to do that as well. But I was curious to find the people who are really, sort of the leaders of their genre. Mm-hmm. And then I have friends as well, and people I know that have been in my restaurants, and people that I just, I've always wanted to have on any show. If I was good at, like a bucket list of people I want to talk to. So it's been great so far. It really has been very interesting.
I love that so much. So your life is as a chef now, and I'm sure it always hasn't been like that. So I wanted to begin this conversation just with the idea that, like, I know you probably have always loved food, but at what point for you, Geoffrey, was it that you wanted to then create a career out of it?
I think that, like a lot of people, you sort of, I didn't go to school I did go to school to do this, but it wasn't my first choice. I went to school to be an economist. And so sometimes your first choice isn't the choice you're going to do, like a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So I changed based upon a trip to Europe I took after I graduated from getting a bachelor's degree in economics and a minor in nutrition. And I've always loved food. I grew up in a Mediterranean family. And so it was very easy for me to sort of understand why food is so seductive. And I got that seductive viewpoint from traveling to Europe, from France in particular. And, when you go to a country that's been around for 3,000 years, you come for one that's been around for 300 years, there's this density of history and experience that just overwhelms you. And France did that for me. And so I had no idea that I would want to be a chef after I saw that. But after I saw restaurants and maitre d's and the theatrics of it all, and the front and the back and the Michelin stars, and I loved it. Something about it just clicked, and I said, "This is what I want to do. I want to entertain people and be in the hospitality business." And I didn't know exactly what that meant, but I came back and I, sort of went for a degree at CIA, and luckily got accepted. And then that was in '81. So
yeah,
I haven't stopped working or creating or changing. I'm still changing all the time, but I'm doing a podcast, so who knows what you're going to do. And I tell people all the time, mm-hmm. Pick something and start. Doesn't really matter, because you don't know what's going to happen anyways. Yeah. Just give it your best.
What are your thoughts on the rest will come, that phrase? When you do what you want to do, or say you do what you love, like you and...
Well, I tell that to people about money. They're like, well, how do I get this? How do I get to that? Well, I'm like, don't start with the idea that you want to make a lot of money, because that's just not a good way to start. It could be a goal, but it shouldn't be the goal. You have to be the best in your field. And so to be the best in your field, you really have to find something you really love, and then search out the people that do it the absolute best and convince them to hire you or work with them or internship or do something. And then see what happens. And I guarantee you, if you have passion for it and you're good at it, you'll work morning, noon, and night, and you won't have vacation very often. And the people that are around you that are giving you the opportunity will notice that this person over here really, really is dedicated. Let's give them the chance of the next job or the next opening or the next promotion or the person we need or that place that we never had someone. Let's try that person. He seems to love or she seems to love what they're really doing. You know, they're really working hard. I mean, that's all it is, right? Yeah. And you show up and you work harder than anybody, and you're going to get a lot of opportunities. And it's not going to be linear, but the people that will notice you are like me now. Like I will notice someone like myself when I was young, and I will give that person a chance. That's my advice.
I love it. You guys should see him right now. If you're listening, you can't see him on the video yet. It's true. I think, I'm 25 and I've heard from people already in the business, at least in media, who are seasoned and have been doing this a minute. They'll see people my age and say, you know what, I saw myself as you at one point, or I see myself in you at any given moment too. And it's part of life too. It's about making
connections. I wasn't
connections.
as well spoken as you are at 25.
No, stop.
I wasn't.
Geoffrey, do you now feel like you're not working? Does it feel like work anymore?
It never felt like it only felt like work when I felt the physical limitations of working 100 hours a week on my feet. And that's the only time I only feel work physically. As far as my capacity in my mind to sort of be in the moment, I'm always thinking I'm thinking that I'm working, but I'm always thinking of like what next to do and how can I turn this into something different, or how can I relate this and who can I connect? How can things get connected? And this will be something I could do over here. Or this person would be great. I'm going to put these two people together, even if it's not for me. I'm like, they would be great. And I always know that someone else is looking for someone. So there's work, and then there's sort of the secondary level. It's sort of the second blast, it's the initial blast and there's the second blast.
Yeah.
And that second blast, there's little bits and pieces of shrapnel that are really interesting. So there's the work, but then there's this secondary part of that work that transport you into another level of place that you never thought of before. And so, I mean, the word work is like, I don't think of the week as Monday through Friday and the weekends are off. That never in my life happened.
Yeah, I figured.
I mean, I work every Sunday at QVC, and on Saturdays, I'm either doing QVC 2 or I'm doing some sort of podcast, or I'm working with my kids doing something else. So the days are just full of fulfillment. They're fulfilled.
Yeah.
And if I want to like say go away, I plan on going away. It's not like oh my God, it's Friday. Thank God we can now stay drunk for the weekend. That's just not how you want to live your life.
It's a good point you bring up. I mean, people I've talked to recently that's what it is. Thank God it's Friday.
And that's it's just
Saturday, Sunday. I'm going to take a long weekend, maybe stretch it to Monday.
Yeah, I know. It's like, and then Monday you come and you're miserable. And that's just, I think you got to like think of a way, especially now, we never had this media or social media or internet, all the 40 gigabytes and 40 and the bandwidth to like do whatever you want to do from wherever you want to do it. That's just unheard of. So the opportunities are endless there, and there's no limit to what you can do, but you've got to start with something that you really like to do. And if you're really passionate and you give it all, it will find you something that's rewarding.
How rewarding was it? You said QVC, I'm going to say Food Network, to get those opportunities on a TV show, national TV show after so long.
I was not looking for that. It found me. I was happy. I was a restaurateur. I was very highly recognized and successful and content. And that was in 2000, I think 5. I got asked to do a pilot. And Food Network was like, raging back then, but it was just starting to like catch on fire.
Yeah.
And I was asked to do a pilot for this show called Chopped. And I was like, what? I didn't really watch much of it. And, I knew Bobby Flay. He was sort of one of the initial chefs there. And he'd been very successful. And because of him, I said, I'll take a look at it. I wasn't really wanting to do it. But I also, in my back of my mind said, this is going to last forever. You can't like work like this and you have to like diversify. So my thought was like, I'm going to do this. It's a great way to diversify. And I auditioned for the show and I got the part, and I didn't think the show would last at all.
Yeah.
And that was 13 and a half years ago. And so about like almost 1,000 episodes in, it's still around. It's still going great. And that really became a great flashpoint for me and really got me a lot of opportunities to then go into the podcasting development, TV. We have a production company now. So, I mean, it's just, things wouldn't have happened if I wasn't like open to them happening, but I had that structure of the food and I had success in food. And the TV wanted someone that had success and knowledge about food. And so that's how it happened. So you don't know, can't predict that. It just happened. But what I did first is I became really good in my field.
Yeah. How would you say, what's your POV on like media in general in terms of amplifying a brand like yours?
The more the better.
Yeah.
Let me hashtag that.
That's the name of your episode, Geoffrey.
The better media is media where you're in control of it. But we have a very, very specific way of portraying media. So we have a great story along with our lifestyle story. So you need to control it, but it's great. It's just, you can get 500 people come through your restaurants every day, which is fantastic. But one show will get 1.3 million people watching it. And you do that twice a week, every week, you're suddenly at Q figures that are crazy. And so that media is something that is really amazing. And you need to really understand how that works. So it's a fantastic way, especially in this business. I mean, there's no media days for lawyers or attorneys, it doesn't, but for chefs and cooking and food and hospitality and teaching, it's like sort of like, it's like perfect. Because all people want to do is 3 times a day eat.
And learn how to, and can watch you.
And learn how to entertain and go out and, and sit in restaurants. I mean, what we do is very valuable contribution to society every day.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you bring that up.
You got to eat, you got to pay taxes, and you got to die. Yeah. So if you're in any one of those areas, you're going to do really well.
Let me just switch my job to H&R Block now, actually.
There you go.
Geoffrey, the reason I ask you is because I don't think people realize how important media can be. To a certain extent, once you become an expert or celebrity in what you do, or you mentioned earlier, like a thought leader or kind of one of the big players in your field, it almost makes sense that media is going to come along with that to an extent that you might hire a publicity team or, media firm or whatever that is, or have a TV show or podcast,
Today, especially. And, if your job is to reinvent yourself and keep yourself relevant, because that's what restaurants are, they last, they have a sell-by date. And if you want to extend that date, you have to change the product or renew the product or invigorate the product and get more people entertained and then get people young interested in you. So you have all the age groups, and that's, you learn that at Food Network. Like you need the 12 to 18-year-olds, you need the 18 to 22, you need the 28 to 36, then you need the pros and the moms and the stay-at-home and the dads and all that stuff. So you really learn how to invite people to your home. And that's what it's all about, because we're just innkeepers, that's what we do.
That's so fun. I watched your Us Weekly cooking in the kitchen. I'm not sure when that was aired, but that's what media does, right? You end up on YouTube with your kids and you show us the 2 different ovens that you have, and it's fun to see because you're not just in your restaurant, right? You invite people in your home.
Yeah, it's behind the scenes, and everybody loves behind the scenes. And so, we're very lucky that we have media. I mean, media is everything, and sometimes it's too much, obviously, because it's the volume of it is so loud and the valve is open so wide all the time. It's just a lot of noise and you can't differentiate. Sure. So I think authenticity really does a lot of things. Authenticity does a lot to differentiate you in a lot of ways. So that's what we try to be authentic, and we stay on brand, and we don't wander into politics, and we don't wander into things that we don't know about. We don't We're not like, you know, promote things we think of. We do what we do and what people love to see, and it's been successful for us. And I tell people that just focus on your own message. You know, don't try to fix everybody else. Just fix yourself. And people love that.
Yeah, it is authentic and it shines through you. You know what I saw in the media, speaking of, you partnered with Genova Premium Tuna for a very important reason, I think. And you mentioned the Mediterranean background you received when you traveled many years ago.
Yes, you know, this is Mediterranean Diet Month.
Yeah.
Who
would have known?
Who would have known, May? I mean, I'm beginning to think that we're going to run out of days soon because every day is something now.
Every day and every month is taken.
There's a guy that's watching the calendar. I hope there's a guy that's paying attention. He's probably 20 or 30 days away from running out of days.
Or he's triple booked on each day of the year.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have to like start to realize that there are way more than 365 worthy causes.
Yeah, but this one's worthy. Mediterranean month.
Yes.
You know, what is the Mediterranean diet in your eyes?
Yes, it's a very distinctive diet that has been around for thousands of years, and it's just a way of living versus a diet. And the way of living says that if you put certain things into your body, albeit fresh vegetables, leafy greens, legumes, whole foods, nuts, good fats like olive oil, avocado, and then for protein, a lot of fish, poultry, and then a very small amount of red meat. And eliminate sugar, you're pretty much on it. And it's a really great diet and a great lifestyle because you have so many ingredients to choose from. And that's why it's really the best and the most longest lasting. And canned tuna is one of those things that's been around forever. And I've been eating canned tuna for over 50 years. And, you know, so to celebrate Mediterranean Diet Month, I partnered with Genova Premium Tuna to offer all of those people who love food a complimentary meal kit. And it's going to feature my recipe that's going to transport you to Mediterranean, I certainly hope, sooner rather than later. Yeah. So there's not a lot out there. So to claim one, you go to genovaseafood.com /meal kit, and I will send you one while the supplies last. Really important. So it's all what I love. And I've been using this tuna forever. And when they call me, I'm like, of course.
Hell yeah. Yeah.
It's in my wheelhouse. And it's, you know, if you read my last book, you know, Perfect Pantry, one of the 50 ingredients in the pantry, it's canned tuna.
Boom. You know what I loved about it? I think there was like a bigger messaging here about allowing people to escape without actually having to travel. Could you imagine how many people still haven't left anywhere? I have a couple friends.
I know.
Right.
I know. There's a lot of people I know that just haven't left. I'm like, wow, you're going to be fine.
Right.
So yeah, we can travel. We can travel with food, and that's what food does, and that's what TV does, and that's what the Food Network does. You can travel and eat with people anytime you want. But these meal kits are great, and they're, you know, they're also easy to prep. It's so easy. The recipe's simple, and you know, you get the best of the best. And tuna has been around forever, and canned tuna is the best because all the omega-3s is oil, salt, and tuna. That's it. No preservatives. You know, it's dolphin safe. It's like line caught. This is the best, and it's so good for you. There's tons of omega-3s in it, fatty acids. And if you look at any diet, keto, Mediterranean, anything, it starts with like this. Canned tuna is right here up top. That's what you want to eat. And I tell people, you eat any kind of tuna from a can, especially Genova, you eat 3-4 ounces of it. Let me tell you something. No. It's going to fill you up and you'll feel really good. It's a dense protein. And so you don't get hungry. So a lot of people like eat like bad in the morning and they start with no protein and they start with like toast and then a bagel at 10. And then they're exhausted by noon and they have to eat something to get the sugar back up and they're out of whack. So you need protein at every point in your life. So that's what's really important. That's why I love tuna, because it's a great versatile protein, and the Mediterranean diet, it's in the top 10 of the ingredient list. So it's made for a healthy lifestyle. And so you want to get a healthy lifestyle, get rid of your pantry and stock it with all the Mediterranean pantry ingredients and tons of Genova tuna. And you can cook, you go to you do that once or twice every quarter. If you're full of all these good ingredients, get rid of all the bad stuff. Then twice or three times a week, you go to the store and you get vegetables and protein, and that's it.
Mm,
And then you can cook anything.
there you go. You make me feel good about my diet. I like Mediterranean food, period. But then I start thinking about what I'm putting in my body, and it's everything you said: little
You
red
got to.
meat, much
You mean,
fish.
remember, when I grew up, we didn't grow up with any money whatsoever, and everything that was good was peasant food, and it was inexpensive. But it was the same thing I'm talking about now. It's like
Mm,
inexpensive, but the best. And so to eat really well, because it's expensive, it's not really. The alternative of not eating well is
mm,
doctors, disease, obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure. That all that stuff costs way more.
yeah,
It really does, and it's going to
good
make you
point.
not feel good about yourself.
And we want to look and feel as good as you do. You know what I mean?
I mean, it takes time, but it doesn't take a lot of like. It just takes focus. It doesn't. I mean, it's
Yeah,
I tell people it's a more of a lifestyle switch
that's what it is.
than to say like food's the enemy. That's bad. That's bad. You can't think like that. You're gonna, there's no such thing as a cheat day. There shouldn't be,
Mm,
because
just
if
keep it consistent.
just eat moderate, eat well, and take care of yourself and exercise, 3 or 4 times a week, and you're going to be good. You're not going to be an Olympic athlete. That's not the point. The point is to maintain a really healthy lifestyle so you feel good.
Yeah, and I want to live till I'm 125, so I'm going to listen to
Well,
you.
you're
You s-
25, you're good. And I'll tell you why, because the advances of medicine right now, the targeted research into
yeah,
chromosomes in the nucleus of DNA, they can actually take stuff out. If for a problem you have, they'll take it, they'll customize it to your blood type and they'll give it to you. And this is going to cure a lot of diseases that were incurable just years ago. And it's amazing the
right.
rapid advances. I keep a lot of, I study that very closely. And
Mm,
you will definitely live to 100, and you'll be much better at 100 than a 100-year-old today will be. And
yeah.
your children will definitely live to 110 or 20.
Mm,
My kids will live to probably 100, 110.
mm-hmm.
And if they take care of themselves, and it's
That's what
kind
it
of
is.
magical, we're going to extend our life so much just from medicine.
Yeah. You said the word focus a minute ago. And I think that there's a level of focus and commitment that I wanted to ask you about on this podcast. Because when you're looking at the trajectory of your life as a chef and then now TV personality, podcast host, production company owner, there's so much to you. And then there's a lot of depth in all of those verticals I just mentioned. But when you think about commitment and where you've had to put your time and your energy and your love for all of this, especially if you didn't want to make it feel like work, and it obviously hasn't, what are your thoughts on commitment and how you've kind of allocated time and energy to all this?
I think that I think commitment is everything, and I think personal responsibility is second to none. And I don't mean taking responsibility just to take responsibility,
Yeah.
but taking responsibility is one of the healthiest things we can do to maximize our level of happiness and fulfillment in life. Find something you like to do, take responsibility for someone, take responsibility for yourself, and then just do that thing the best you can. And guess what? You're gonna be content. And a
Mm,
lot of people confuse, like, I'm not happy, I don't know what I'm doing. It's like happiness is like it's right there. You just gotta you gotta clear away the crap.
mm-hmm.
But it's right there. It's by taking responsibility and doing something well and learning and getting better at doing something well every day, so that every day you're getting better than the day before. You're going to find contentment, and contentment is pretty close to, I mean, this happiness is the word is sort of odd, but you got to focus on something that really you like and take responsibility for it and make the mistakes and go through all that mess. And it's a messy process, but the
Mm,
process is really the most important thing.
sure.
You're going to get somewhere. You don't know where you're going to get, but does it really matter? What matters is you enjoy that process, and that process will take you somewhere you probably don't know where. But you can't do it without commitment, and you can't do it without taking responsibility. And
Mm,
it's not about money, because that will find itself. In your 20s, you should be doing as much as possible to find that thing you love to do, and then just focus and be the best at it and keep perfecting it. And you will find contentment, and you will find a rich life
mm,
to live, in my opinion.
yeah. Can I ask you, outside of cooking, how were you emotionally able to handle like the business aspect, the production, the live TV, the 5 a.m. wake up times and all that? How were you handling it? Is it just you kind of knew it was
I was
coming?
scared of the failure. I was scared of the other side of that, would not be doing it. Would I be not doing it? If I mean,
Yeah.
you just got to get in there and do it. Did I know what I was doing? No, I made it up.
Yeah.
I made it up, and I like watched people do it. I'm like, oh, I can do that. Let's try it. And a couple of, shitty first and second times, but then the third time, I got this, and then you just get out of the way.
Mm.
And that's all it is. It really, I mean, honestly, that's what it is. And you can read all you want. Anything you want is available to read and learn. You can do all that stuff on your own.
Mm.
But nothing prepared me for it at all. I just asked a lot of questions, hire really good people, and like get out of the way of yourself and be authentic. I'm authentic when I talk to someone. I'm authentic when I cook. I'm authentic when I give advice. When you see me in person and you see me on TV, and I'm the same person. I'm not like different. So I think that I tell people, it's just like, who cares if you make a mistake? Make mistakes. You're blessed to have this opportunity to take chances. And like, I don't want to fail. So you're gonna fail. You gotta, you're gonna fail, but you want to fail at something that you're gonna get better at, and like fail up. It's okay.
You said it was about the journey earlier. It's totally about that, but you have to learn while you're on that journey, right?
Yeah, and you don't know, you're not gonna say this 5-year goal thing is like, I never understood that.
No,
I understand.
same.
I mean, what the hell is a 5-year goal? I'm thinking 5 hours.
Yeah, 5 days. At
5
max.
days. And people say, well, how do you balance your life? I'm like, balance? What's balance?
Yeah. We should have.
How do you do this? And how do you get your work-life balance? How do you do that? I'm like,
no,
I work. My work is life and life is work. And in that pot, under all that is, call it what you want. Is it balance like this? No. It's never in balance. It's always going this way. Then I got to go run over this side. Then it goes that way and run over this side.
Makes it fun.
But you wouldn't know that from the outside. And you're like, well, how do you do it all? How do you balance it? Because I'm afraid, and it's all about fear.
Yeah.
What are you afraid of? Just get up earlier. I get up early in the morning and I go to bed early.
Yeah.
And I don't stop. But I go to bed when I'm done for the day. I don't go to bed when my work is done. If I'm done, I'm physically done. I'm like, I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
Get up and I start right up again. It's not like a, it's not like 9 to 5. It's more like 5 to midnight.
Yeah.
5 to 10. And some days are different, and you just have to just figure it out. And some days really suck because everything that day is drizzled down to this bucket that you have on this Tuesday. Like, well, how did this happen? Mm-hmm. You figure it out. And you take one mess out at a time. You deal with one mess, then another mess, and then suddenly you figure out that mess could have been avoided, or it could have been less messy.
Right.
That's called life.
That's called
learning, and you're going to have that. And the people that really are successful and are content have the most fun cleaning up messes. The mess becomes then, a problem to solve and a learning opportunity. It's not all like this idea of like everything's safe spaces is like crazy. Why would you want that?
Yeah. Limitations.
Why would you be on the earth and be safe? We'd go back in the womb.
We're going to wrap it right there. Geoffrey Zakarian, thank you. Thank you for saying yes. Thanks for being this week's Man of the Hour. I appreciate your time. All the advice, man. It was great. We're going to close it out.
Good questions. I think there could be a future being a podcaster. If not, you could be an accountant or a lawyer. Or
I'm going to go be a tax lawyer after you said that. Or a tax
lawyer. Or a funeral director.
We're sticking to this shit, Geoffrey. Thank you so much again, man.
Thanks, man.